Welcome to Epic Pen Saga. Here, stories are reborn and legends are rewritten. This is the story of Reborn as Jon Snow with a god system. So sit back and let the journey begin.
Chapter 12: The Path of Power. The training dimension of God was a place where the very concept of time was distorted. What felt like a decade could be mere moments in the world outside. It had been 5 years since I found myself in this realm of limitless potential, a place where my mind, body, and soul had undergone unimaginable transformations. I was no longer the same Jon Snow who was once a lost bastard of Winterfell. I was something much more, something far beyond the comprehension of the world I came from. The gifts I received from the beginner's gift package were both a blessing and a curse, each one a piece of a puzzle that would make me the most powerful being in existence, but only if I could unlock their full potential. The most tantalizing of these gifts was the Dragon Egg Model Monster Zero. It lay dormant, unhatched, a symbol of the power that waited just beneath the surface, biding its time. I would often gaze at the egg, feeling the raw energy within, a storm waiting to be unleashed upon the world. But for now, it remained still, its time not yet come. Meanwhile, the Library of Knowledge was a treasure trove of infinite wisdom, and I had immersed myself in its depths, absorbing the secrets of worlds both known and unknown. Through the library, I learned the ancient magics of the world of Westeros, rituals that were as dark as they were powerful. These rituals, drenched in blood and sacrifice, could bend reality itself, but their cost was steep. Human life was the currency of these ancient arts, and while I had learned the rituals in theory, I had yet to put them into practice. My time in the training dimension was a period of preparation, not action, but when I returned to the world outside, I knew that bandits, criminals, and the Forsaken would become the fuel for my rise to power. These rituals were gruesome, yes, but they held unimaginable potential. Through them, I could reshape nature, alter the fates of men, and even bring the dead back to life. I had seen this in action through the resurrection of Jon Snow in the series, brought back by the Lord of Light's magic, but what I had now was different. This was not a miracle born of divine intervention. It was a methodical, calculated act of necromancy. Yet the cost was prohibitive. The magic required for such a feat was immense, far beyond what most could muster. But I was not most people. With the right sacrifices, I could do more than bring someone back. I could make them stronger, better, completely loyal to me. Still, for now, these rituals were tools to be used later. I would learn everything, take everything, for who knew when it might be needed. My warg abilities had also evolved far beyond what any other skin changer could hope to achieve. The training here had refined my connection to animals to the point where distance no longer mattered. Once I made that first contact, I could enter the mind of any beast, no matter where it was, no matter how far it roamed. This ability was a spy's dream, allowing me to gather information without ever being detected. The bond I could create with animals was more than just a connection, it was total control. But perhaps the most significant change was the transformation of my body itself. The body of Hashirama Senju was a marvel of genetic perfection, a gift that kept on giving. Hashirama, the first Hokage of the Naruto world, was known for his unparalleled strength, regenerative abilities, and mastery of wood style. My mastery of wood style had progressed rapidly in this dimension, yet I was aware that I had only tapped into about 70% of Hashirama's true power. Without Sage Mode, there was a limit to what I could achieve, but I was patient. This training dimension was filled with Senjutsu Chakra far denser than even the most sacred places in the Naruto world. This environment was perfect for my growth. I knew that once my body reached its prime, once I could fully harness Sage Mode, I would become an unstoppable force. Sage Mode was not just about absorbing nature's chakra, it was about balance, balancing your own chakra with the vast energy of the world around you. The more chakra you had, the more nature chakra you could balance, and the more powerful you became. But this was not something to rush. I needed my body to mature, to grow into its full potential. That time would come soon, but for now, I focused on perfecting what I already had. Wood style was my primary focus, and I had pushed its limits to new heights, but my talents didn't end there. I had also mastered the Flying Thunder God technique, a teleportation jutsu created by the second Hokage and made famous by Minato, the fourth Hokage. With it, I could place marks anywhere in the world and travel there instantly. It was the ultimate technique for both offense and defense, allowing me to be everywhere and nowhere at once. And then there was the particle-style jutsu, a technique of such destructive power that it left nothing in its wake. Developed by the Tsuchikage, this technique could disintegrate anything it touched, reducing it to atoms. The sheer destructive force of particle style made it one of the deadliest abilities in my arsenal, and combined with my ability to fly, another skill I had learned from the Tsuchikage, I could rain death from above, untouchable and unstoppable. But despite all my progress, there was one thing that remained elusive: the hatching of my dragon egg. The egg sat in my quarters, a constant reminder of the power that had yet to be unleashed. I could feel the life within it, the immense potential waiting to be born, but the time was not yet right. Patience was key, just as it was with Sage Mode. When the egg finally hatched, I knew that the creature that emerged would be a force of nature, a beast that would make the world tremble. As the years in the training dimension passed, I continued to grow stronger, more skilled and more knowledgeable, but I was also growing restless. The time would soon come for me to return to the world outside, to put everything I had learned to the test. The world of Westeros and beyond, they were all unprepared for what was coming. I was no longer just Jon Snow, the bastard of Winterfell. I was a warrior, a sorcerer, a shinobi, a warg, and soon a dragon rider. When I finally left this place, the world would know the full extent of my power, and nothing, no one, would stand in my way.
Journey has only begun, and fate is already changing. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, share it with fellow fantasy and anime lovers, and subscribe to Epic Pen Saga to continue this journey with me. Thank you for watching.